The entire neighborhood laughed when Owen Carter handed over his last $100 for a rust-covered car that barely looked capable of moving. Its faded paint was peeling away, weeds had grown around its tires, and the license plate was almost impossible to read beneath years of dirt. People shook their heads, convinced the struggling single father had finally lost his mind. But no one, not the smiling woman laughing from across the street, not the curious neighbors watching from their porches, and certainly not Owen himself, could have imagined that just 5 days later, the forgotten wreck would become the center of a story worth $5 million. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, second chances, and never judging someone by appearances can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more inspiring stories that remind us miracles often hide in unexpected places. Owen Carter had spent the last 3 years raising his 7-year-old son, Mason, alone after losing his wife to a sudden illness. Every sunrise found him working long hours repairing lawn equipment at a small repair shop while doing everything possible to give Mason a happy childhood. Their tiny rented house was modest, their furniture was worn, and every dollar had a purpose before it even reached Owen's pocket. Even so, he never complained. His greatest treasure was watching Mason smile, even if it came from the smallest moments. That bright spring morning, while walking home from a neighborhood yard sale, Owen noticed the abandoned car sitting at the edge of an old property. It was covered in rust, the windows were dusty, and the tires were flat. A handwritten sign rested against the windshield that simply read, "For sale, $100." Most people walked past without a second glance, but Owen stopped. Something about the vehicle caught his attention. Beneath the corrosion, he noticed unusual body lines and handcrafted metal details unlike anything he had seen before. As Owen examined the engine compartment, a young woman named Vanessa, who lived nearby, burst into laughter with several friends. She loudly joked that only someone completely desperate would waste money on a pile of scrap. Her laughter echoed across the quiet street, drawing more attention as neighbors smiled and whispered. Owen heard every word but chose silence. He simply counted out the last $100 from his wallet, shook the elderly owner's hand, and slowly towed the old car home with borrowed equipment. That afternoon, Mason helped his father wash decades of dust from the body. The child smiled as muddy water rolled onto the driveway, revealing pieces of polished aluminum hidden beneath layers of dirt. Owen wasn't restoring the vehicle because he expected riches. He simply enjoyed solving mechanical puzzles and hoped one day it might become a fun father and son project. Every evening after work, under the warm daytime sunlight stretching into late afternoon, they carefully removed damaged panels, cleaned forgotten parts, and documented strange serial numbers stamped onto the chassis. On the third day, Owen became curious about one unusual engraving hidden beneath the dashboard. Instead of guessing, he uploaded several photographs to an online community of vintage racing historians. Hours passed with no response until one respected collector sent a surprising message asking for more detailed pictures immediately. Another expert joined the conversation, explaining that the frame appeared almost identical to a one-of-a-kind prototype built decades earlier by legendary racing engineer Victor Marlowe before his championship career began. Historians had believed the prototype disappeared forever after a warehouse fire nearly 40 years ago. The message spread rapidly among collectors. More specialists requested additional photographs, comparing every bolt, weld, and handcrafted component with archived factory blueprints. By the fourth day, excitement had exploded across automotive circles. Reporters called Owen asking for interviews. Collectors from several states offered increasing amounts of money without even seeing the vehicle in person. Owen politely refused every offer because he wanted experts to verify the discovery before making any decisions. Then came the morning that changed everything. A convoy of black SUVs quietly rolled into Owen's neighborhood under the bright blue sky. Curious residents stepped outside, wondering what was happening. The vehicles stopped in front of Owen's small house, and an elderly man stepped out wearing a simple baseball cap. It was Victor Marlowe himself, now one of the greatest racing legends in history. He had spent decades searching for the missing prototype he designed as a young engineer before fame found him. Victor slowly walked around the dusty vehicle. His hands trembled as he touched the handcrafted metal, recognizing tiny imperfections only its original creator could know. His eyes filled with tears as memories returned from the beginning of his career, when dreams mattered more than trophies. For several emotional minutes, he simply stood there in silence. Word spread through the neighborhood almost instantly. The same people who had laughed days earlier now watched in complete disbelief. Vanessa stood frozen near her front yard, unable to believe the rusty car she had mocked was actually one of the rarest automobiles ever discovered. Victor later explained that museums had searched for this missing prototype for decades because it represented the birth of an engineering revolution in motorsports. Without hesitation, he made Owen an extraordinary offer of $5 million, promising the car would be carefully restored and displayed so future generations could appreciate its history. Owen accepted, but what happened afterward mattered far more than the money itself. Instead of buying luxury homes or expensive sports cars, Owen quietly paid off every debt he owed. He purchased a comfortable home where Mason finally had his own bedroom. He donated generously to the local children's hospital that had cared for his late wife. He created scholarship programs for young mechanics who couldn't afford technical education and opened a community workshop where struggling parents could learn valuable repair skills free of charge. Even Vanessa found herself overwhelmed with regret. One afternoon she gathered enough courage to apologize for laughing at Owen. He accepted her apology with kindness, reminding her that everyone makes mistakes and that judging appearances often hides opportunities we cannot yet see. His forgiveness humbled her more than any angry response ever could. Years later, visitors from around the world admired the restored prototype displayed inside a museum, but beside it hung another photograph that captured the hearts of everyone who saw it. It showed a tired father and his smiling little son washing a rusty old car together in the driveway on a sunny afternoon, long before anyone knew its true value. The museum plaque didn't celebrate the price tag. Instead, it honored curiosity, perseverance, humility, and the quiet strength of a father who never stopped believing that broken things, and broken lives, could still become beautiful again. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us continue sharing inspiring stories that remind the world kindness is never wasted. Special request, comment below with "Never judge by appearances" if you believe every person deserves respect before judgment. Because sometimes the greatest treasure isn't hidden beneath shining paint or polished chrome. Sometimes it's hidden beneath rust, patience, and the heart of someone who refuses to give up when everyone else has already walked away.